If it's a high-performing team, the important thing is you need to know exactly what your team is high-performing at. Okay, because many times you find out in a high-performance team, not necessarily everyone's working at 100%. There's a rule of thumb is 80-20, and if you go through any management things, I don't know if they touch base with that, 80-20 rule. So you find out in the sales team, performance in the sales team, you find 20% of the people in the sales team bringing 80% of the work.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
The other 80% are there, but they don't. They bring 20%, but you still need them because of the type of contacts they have, which could lead to a big order at times. And that knowing the people and understand them, and also you got to with any sales team or any team in your organisation. If it's sales, or if it's design, or if it's workshop, or if it's administration, it's important that if you've set KPIs for those people, okay, or you do have weekly meetings on how they're going. Rather than just give them a KPI, you've covered KPIs, key performance indicators.
Yes.
Rather than just give them a key performance indicator and then go to sleep on it. You need to keep that up front all the time. So each week or each month, but preferably weekly. And if you have a weekly, always it's best to have it on a Monday. No later than a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Reason being, the person has got the whole week
to work on
it. Whereas if you have a meeting on Thursday or Friday, all they're thinking about is what they're going to do on Saturday and Sunday.
Now I know why we got Mondays at meetings.
What's that?
Now I know why we have Mondays as our Monday night as our meetings. Every first Monday of the night.
That's right.
Of the month.
Yeah. So when you're having your key performance indicators for that group, okay, you need to cover those and see how those people are going. Okay? And that's a way of keeping pressure on the people, not hard pressure, but keeping their targets up front, almost. So if it's sales, okay, you could be talking. Okay, well, look, hey, what orders what quotes have you done, and what are their chances of getting the quotes? Who's the client? What's the value of the quotes? All right.
Yeah.
So you need to look at those, and then is there any indication when the client will be making a decision on that quote? Next week, when you're having that, you ask that person, how did you go with that quote? What's happening? Where are we at now? Okay? Is that still alive or is it dead?
Yeah.
All right? And then the next one. Okay?
So there's monitoring and mentoring.
Absolutely. They work very closely together. And then, if it's workshop type people, then you talk to your foreman, your workshop manager, your team leaders in the workshop, and ask them how we're progressing with that job. Okay, I see. We're supposed to be at this stage by the end of this week. Okay, we've done. Say for example, the job has been allocated 500 hours, and you've done 250. Is the job 50% complete? Or is it 60% complete? Or is it 30% complete? Right? And you need to know that. Okay? Because then, because wherever you are, if you're ahead of schedule, that's a plus. But if you're behind schedule, you need to find out then why you're behind schedule, what needs to be done to bring it to schedule, if you can bring it to schedule. And also then if you can't bring it to schedule, you need to advise the customer. So you give the customer pre-warning. There's no good ringing a customer up on Friday morning when you get ready to pick it up Friday afternoon. And Friday morning you're ringing them. And sorry, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, your job won't be ready till next Friday. Where if you'd rung them the previous Friday, gave them a week's notice, then you say, look, we're running a bit behind schedule. Unfortunately, it won't be ready this Friday. It won't be ready next Friday. We'll be ready the Friday after.
Yeah, not on the 11th hour.
Not on 11th hour, absolutely. And it's always important. And here in leadership, it's important to, in two ways, with your own people, is to over-deliver and under-promise. And what that means is you promise something on a certain day, on a certain time. So if we talk about Friday at the end of the month. We talk about last Friday of the month, you promise a customer you're going to deliver then. But you know that if everything goes to right, it'll be ready on the third Friday of the month. Okay? So if it's ready then, you've delivered it early. Because if you're promising the customer, yes, we can do it by the third Friday of the month, and something happens, you're behind schedule. Okay, so you have one black mark against you. Because if you deliver it ahead of schedule, it all goes well. So you always have a bit up your sleeve. And unfortunately, we do that with our people in the office as well, or in the workshop. You tell them, you might say, okay, the job, you've got 2 weeks to do the job. But in actual fact, say, look, you don't have 10 days to do the job, you've got 8. All right?
Yeah.
So that if something happens, you've got 2 days up your sleeve. All right?
To correct.
To correct anything, yeah. And you got to allow that, because what do you do if there's an accident, or if that person's sick,
Yeah.
or something happens that you haven't, that you have no control over. You know? At the end of the day, the customer does not want to know your problems.
Yes.
They just want their product.
Yes.
That's all they do. If you got a problem, that's your problem. Where is my product? The important thing on that too is, and it goes all the way through business, is where a lot of people get a lot of things mixed up. Is if you're in business and you're talking to people, and then someone says, "What business are you in?" and they say, "I'm in a childcare business. I'm in engineering business. I'm in a manufacturing business. I'm in a car business, insurance business." You're not. If you're talking to people, you are in a people business. All right? The childcare, the car business, the insurance business, they are all the products.
Yeah.
Of what you're doing. Okay?
Business of people.
You're in business people. And that's, and in fact, on Monday I'm talking to a bunch of sales guys where the director comes to ask me to talk to the sales team. And that's the questions I always ask. Can you tell me what business you're in? And they always tell me they're in engineering business, or in that business, or that business. Yeah. No,
well, those are fun.
And when you're in the custom business, the number of things you got to remember when you're in the customer in a people business, one is you got to have strong ethics. You got to build a trust. You got to be a good listener to the customer. Okay. You got to be able to communicate with the customer in such a way that they have confidence in you, that what you say is honourable. And that's the area you're in. Once you build the trust up, and the customer feels they can trust you and believe in you, the price issues and all other issues become secondary. Okay? But the customer doesn't trust you, does not believe in you. Okay? The only thing you're working on is price. Okay? And you just, and what happens then? You just enter a price war.
Yeah.
All right? And by getting to know the customers, you get to know the customer in a number of ways. Firstly, you get to know the customer a bit about themselves. Okay? And not too much, because you don't want to pry into their private life.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you know they're married, find out they're married, have they got children, okay? What areas they live, okay? Where they've been on holidays. Don't ask them all out at once, but as you meet the customer. So the next time you go and see them, okay, you've got a bit of an icebreaker. And I'll give an example. I was working close with City Pacific Iron Ore, and the operations man there by Chapel Mark, and I was, got to know him, and he was having his wife was having their first baby. So next time I saw him about 2 months later, how's the baby going? How's the progress? How many sleepless nights have you had? All right. So you break the ice. So you create a relationship. You know what it's about. When you build business, you've got to create a relationship, which in that covers all those other things like the communication, the trust, the ethics, and the honesty. And that all stems down in a relationship. And then, once you've done that, when you're talking to a client, it's only the first 5 minutes of the customer should be about icebreaker type question, icebreaker conversation. That's all. After that is business.
That's all.
All right? Because the customer is busy, and you're there to get business for your boss.
Yeah, not entertainment.
Absolutely. You want entertainment? Go and see a movie. All right?
Yes, got it. I learned a lot.
With your networking skills, the good thing about networking is you'll get to talk to a lot of people and people in the leadership area, and by asking those sort of people how they overcome issues in leadership, whether it be issues with customers, issues with their own staff, okay, you learn from that, because you can learn skill can only teach you so much, but they can't teach you every single thing about it. And you find a lot of things that through networking, if you develop a good relationship through networking with some people, you can use those people as a possible mentor to help you. And in doing that, you'll get better at it, because with leadership, no problem, but the challenge you have with leadership, life is lonely at the top. Okay? So if you have an idea or a problem with someone in there, who do you go to help you solve it? Okay? You can't go to a staff member. You can't go to another supervisor probably, because you don't know how that supervisor operates, or you probably do something, but you don't know what sort of relationship that supervisor has with a person you want to reprimand or do something with. Okay? And the last thing you want is talking to somebody and then have your thoughts leak, and then all of a sudden what happens then is you get undermined.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah. Then that much harder, and that's the last thing you want. Okay? So in ethics, I was talking about networking. All right. Yeah. So with that's the and with networking, if you are networking, there's two sorts of. One is networking within your own organisation, or whether you're networking with people outside your organisation. And it's always better to network with people outside your organisation, because then you can bounce your ideas off those people. But also, when you're networking, you need to ask hardcore questions to those people, not cosmetic questions. And by that, by cosmetic questions, don't just when you network, don't talk to people about, how'd your weekend go? Okay, that might be a bit of an icebreaker, but you don't carry that on. How'd your weekend go? How's your family? So look, I've got an issue. How can you help? Have you come across this? And how did you overcome it? And and then also, if you are in a networking group, to do the icebreaker bit first, but then also ask them how often have they been coming to this networking group? What have they got out of this networking group? What have they found that has been beneficial to them? Okay? And do they come to the networking group frequently? So they actually get to know what people do and what they're getting out of the networking group. And that gives you an understanding with whether you want to be part of that group or whether you want to go to another group. There are various networking groups around the place, and some are focused on one area, some are focused in other areas. I would imagine that in the childcare industry, I'd say there is probably a networking group in the childcare industry. I know for us, there's a few networking groups, and I'll work very closely with one. And this chap, most of the people he networked with, well, he had a few different sorts of clientele, people he would network with. Some were the professional type, which were your lawyers and accountants and things like that. Some were in the mining industry, some in the service industry. So when he contacted me and said, look, I've got a networking group, and he'd tell me who the people would be there, the type of people that would be there. And then I decided, yes, I'll come to that. That's good because there's some people in mining there and there's some legal people there. You might find a good legal person that can help you in some issues, And also people that are involved in mining directly or indirectly, at least through that, it'll give you some understanding on how they get into other areas. If you want to move on and go somewhere else, okay, in your career, okay, how do you do that? Okay, and you might find through the networking is how other people have done it, or through networking you might find there's an opening somewhere which might suit you. So that's the important thing. But you got to ask questions on they'll benefit you rather than cosmetic questions. And so, before a leader makes any major decisions in their role, it is important to weigh up the decisions you're going to make. And by weighing up the decisions you're going to make, you get a piece of paper, and on one side you put the plus, and on the other side you put the negative. And then you write down all the pluses for that decision you're going to make, and all the negatives. And then and you got to be honest with yourself too.
Yes.
Okay, that's the important thing, because many leaders are not honest with themselves, and consequently they either have not enough negatives, all right?
Yeah.
And the negatives could easily outweigh the pluses, or they don't have enough pluses because they don't really want to do the job, so they have all the negatives.
It's hard.
Okay.
Yeah, just fooling around yourself.
That's right, and that's the important thing. So good leaders have got to be honest with themselves, write that down, and then evaluate it. The decision I'm going to make now, is it the right decision? And the thing is, a good leader could put aside or must put aside the idea of being threatened by a staff member. And threatened, and by threatening, I don't mean the person's going to be vindictive to him, but by threatened thinking the person may be better than him or her. A good leader has better people around him.
Yes.
Because if you are a good leader, you have better people around. They're doing the job competently. They don't need to come to you every 5 minutes.
That's annoying.
All right. And then you can grow your business the way you want it to grow. And then by having good people around you, that means that allows you to work on the business, not in the business. Okay? If you're working in the business, that means you're working amongst the people. So you have 20 people there, that means you're one of those 20 in there.
Yeah.
Working amongst them. So, no saying goes there. It's like being in a forest. You don't see the trees in the forest because you're in the forest. You need to get out of the forest to see the trees. Right? And that's what happens by working in the business and on the business. So you're working in the business, you get engulfed with all the issues, and you're constantly putting out fires. Like business fires. It's just a terminology.
Yeah.
Right? When you're working on the business, you can see what's happening, and then you can act accordingly. And if some leader might need mentoring, they've done something wrong. They've possibly made a good decision, but didn't think the decision all the way through. And by not thinking the decision all the way through, is that's where it comes back to the two sides of the paper. You haven't thought the decision all the way through because there may be some negative implications which have not taken into consideration. They've only looked at the decision, they've made it, but didn't think of what the recourse could be. And as a result of that, then they start to put out bushfires. All right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's important. You start with a piece of paper, both sides of paper, one negative, one positive, write it all down, and you've got to be honest with yourself. And with any leaders and management, the important thing is to be honest with yourself. And the difference between a leader and a manager, a leader leads the company, a manager manages. So it depends what you want to do. Yeah. All right? So there are plenty of good managers out there, not good leaders, and there's plenty of good leaders out there, not good managers. As they come, you find out in many organisations, especially once you get to the corporate level, okay, there's managers, but then they've got advisors, and the advisors are the leaders. They give them information. Yeah. Right? So that way, it covers their backside and covers their back. So, well, hang on, you can't make that decision because we want this person to progress to this area. Okay? So if you made that decision, that person can't do that. You're stopping them where they are. But instead, you've opened the gate for this other person which doesn't have the ability to get there, or does not have the know-how how to do that job if they get there. Okay? Yeah. So you've got to constantly look at the big pictures. It's a bit like driving a car. You don't look at the car right in front of you. You look at the car 3 or 4 cars ahead of you. Yes. So that if you see the stoplights coming on the car that's 3 cars ahead of you, you know you're going to start stopping. If you're just looking at this car here that's stopping, by the time he stops, it might be too late. Too late. And then you got bang. Yeah, because you need to be far behind so that you can respond at the safe time. Yeah. So that's why you got to be able to read people. It's like reading traffic. You've got to be able to read people. So many people, what they say and what their body says is many times 2 different things. They might say, yes, I can do that. Yes, but... Yeah. All right? Yes. You say, oh, hang on, you're saying yes, but you're saying no. Yeah. It happens. It happens, and other language, you know? So, and that's important to get to know the body language of people. And then the body language will tell you the truth rather than what comes out of the mouth. And it's always important with people and leaders. That's why God's given you 1 mouth and 2 ears. So you listen twice as much as you talk. All right? So you listen to what the person's saying. Let them do all the talking. You just ask the questions. Yeah. And then from asking the questions, they can lead on to other questions or lead on to comments that you make and ask for a comment back on what you just mentioned. And with any leader, communication, you need to be very explicit in your communications, and it's always best, especially in today's world, with computers and emails, okay, and texts, the communication needs to be in black and white, rather than I said, you said. Yeah. Reason for that is, because as a manager, you have a big responsibility, and if something goes wrong, if that person does something wrong, they can very easily blame the manager or their supervisor. But he or she just told me to do that. Yeah. And then the person, no, I didn't. I said to do this. But this is the way I understood it. Yeah. Okay? So it's important you have your communication is written down and given the person in writing. And also, if you are at a situation, ask the person to explain to you how they understand that. Yeah. Okay, and that's more important, and that's why in a lot of major organisations and things like that, is there is people are given an employment contract,
Yeah.
so that it's written down there what's expected from them to do.
You get a job description.
Okay, then they get a job description or position description,
Yeah.
and that tells them what they're supposed to be doing, what's expected of them. Okay. Prior to that, sorry, if I go back, prior to the actual employment contract, they get a letter of offer. You get a letter of offer. If you're happy with that, you sign that, and then you read the contract employment, and then you have your job description, and then part of that job description is your KPIs. So in maybe the job description, you'd have your KPIs listed there too. Your KPIs, work attendance, work attitude, okay, work presentation, understanding of your role, ability to do the work. Are you fit for purpose? You know. So those sort of things. Those are some of the basic KPIs, and that's why you need to. That's all part of the communication side of it. If you cover all that, okay, that means everybody is on the same playing field. Because if it's I said, you said, saying your word against their word, and obviously, if you go to a court of law, okay, you've got a lawyer, but also that other person who would have the union on their side, okay, or would have the Fair Work Australia on their side, and they'll push the envelope. And so, well, hang on, you're the manager. Why did you tell that to the person? And all the things that you should have done, they'll be asking, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you give it to them in writing? Yeah. All right? And it's a lot of pain to go through unnecessarily when it could easily be fixed. And that's why even in companies that are manufacturing stuff, things like that, they have a job progress sheet, you know? Okay, so it is the specifications of the job. Once the job goes so far, it is checked off by a supervisor. And the supervisor checks that section off. Once they're happy with it, then they go to the next section. They don't go to the next section or the second stage or third stage until the stage prior one is all okay. You know? And then finally it's okay, because no good having it on a project and after 4 months, 5 months, they say, oh, hang on, that's not right. And that was part of stage one.
So there's a few stages that you need to be fixed.
Well, absolutely.
It takes time.
It takes time, and that's why it's important to go through each stage as you're working through it. And again, that's all part of communication. Okay. The next one, after communication. Okay. Well, there's two sorts of stakeholders there. One is you've got your stakeholders, which can be your staff, okay, because then they're stakeholders in the project, and there's stakeholders who actually invested money into your organisation. So, and those people are stakeholders financially.
Are customers also stakeholders?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and customers have actually invested money in you.
Yes.
And they're trusting you with the investment that project will be done to their satisfaction. So there's all those different levels of stakeholders, and you've got to keep them all in mind, and you've got to keep them all happy. So if there is a project, you've got your stakeholders on the ground there who are doing a project, stakeholders of the actual project as far as skills go. Then you've got the stakeholders who got money invested in the business and want a return on the investment, okay? And then you've got your customer or customers, okay? Because sometimes it could be a joint venture. Okay? And was that the legislation?
The legislation and code of practice.
Okay, well, with the legislation, you got, especially in Australia, everything's got to be done to Australian standards. Okay, so there's no legislation for that. It's up to you to make sure you do it to Australian standards. So if something goes wrong, and it's not done to Australian standards, you're leaving yourself open for liability because it's not done to the standards as per Australian standards. You've got to understand that. So you've got to design people involved, engineers involved, things like that. They got to know what the Australian standards for that are and do it. And there's Australian standards for everything. You know, something from making a handrail to something that's 150 tonne big or 500 tonne big. There's standards for everything, and that way you've got to look at that. So the Australian standards, so legislation, Australian standards are working closely because if something goes wrong, you go to lawyers and through the legislation, it always comes back to a standard. What standard is you do it in? Okay.
Yeah. And the code of practice.
Code of practice. That's with the company, the code of practice comes in under the company's policies. Okay. So with the code of practice, they'll ask, okay, what is the code of practice you're working with? There's a number of things. Yes, that's part of our principles. I've got something written down somewhere. Remember, I wrote something down quite some time ago. Probably have got an archive somewhere. With the code of practice, you've got to just try to explain that. The code of practice is your steps towards achieving something.
Achieving your goal.
Achieving your goals.
Or realizing your mission.
That's right. So and that's what it is. So that what have you got a code of practice for doing this? Yes, the code of practice is we do this and we do that and we do that and we do that and we do that, and that's our code to follow it through. And the code of practice, your mission statement and your values could be part of your code of practice. Okay, you've got to be built into it. Okay, our code of practice is to be the best daycare centre in Perth metropolitan area. Okay? That's our vision, and to do that, our code of practice is built around that because we do this, we do that, we do that, we do that. That's part of our vision.